Welcome back to another episode of the Sunder Katz. Why Sunder? Because we're talking about something different in today's show. Is no different. We're talking about Vault Comics. Vault Comics is a pretty decent and spectacular publisher that has only been established since 2016. And why cats? Because we are the coolest cats in town. In particular, my man here, Manny from Truthful Comics and by Indie Comics Day. Bro, what is up?
Oh man, I'm good, ready to talk about some awesome comics.
Indeed, we are. And I'm Dodgy in the mix, mixing it up, talking about Vault Comics. As I said before, it's a pretty new publisher. It came out in 2016, have some really awesome titles. All of them create create own. You don't find any licensed books with Vault, but everything is like new and original. Manny, what made you choose Vault? Because I know this was your choice for this week in terms of publisher. What made you jump into Vault?
Honestly, I've been hearing a lot about the publisher on Twitter and stuff like that, and every time I go to the local comic shop, I make it a point to go through all the back issues, all the the shelves, and look for different indie publishers that I don't read that much of.
Yeah.
And a few months ago, I picked up Barbarian #1. I picked up Witch Blood. Let him bleed. And I was like, I'm just picking them up because I keep hearing about them and they blew my mind. So I've been reading more and more from this publisher. So I thought we should talk about them.
Yeah, no, you're not wrong about that because I'm really excited to talk about the books because from a publishing standpoint, the books all look pretty polished. The covers look amazing. But before we jump in there, we'll jump onto the website. If you do want to check them out, vaultcomics.com. And Manny, have you had a chance to check out the website yourself?
Oh yeah, no doubt. No doubt.
Nice. Yeah, there you can just read about it. And I find it to be a pretty fluid website. Very
It is.
Do you think the same?
Yeah, it's very easy to navigate. On the left side corner, when you go on titles, you can choose fantasy, horror, sci-fi, new coming soon, new arrivals. Click on it and it'll show you for different genres. And man, it's so easy to navigate, so easy to find books. If you're like, let's say you're a horror fan and that's all you read, you just click horror and it'll give you a bunch of titles that you probably never heard of and you should be reading.
Yeah, and I think the layout is very you're right. When you click on the top corner, it tells you what it is that you want to find rather than have everything bombarded on the website itself. Because I found it to be very easy to navigate because there's not a lot there, so it's easy for the eye. The tiles are quite large as well in terms of the images. As you can see here, you see Rush. It's probably a newer book that they've trying to throw in your face a little bit. But it's really good though. I actually really enjoyed navigating the website.
Yep.
And no doubt you've also got the apparel as well. I thought I'd check out, in case you wanted to wear your new, Barbaric t-shirt and things like that.
Yeah. I want to get a Barbaric shirt.
Yeah, definitely. I think it's $15 USD. So, not bad.
No.
Yeah. Not bad at all. But no doubt the website's easy to follow. Their books are available through Comixology and they do get distributed through Diamond. So your local comic book shops will receive them, which is amazing. But definitely a newer publisher. And the creator, Damien Wessel, just thought of this idea, and it's a family business. Like his father, Damien Wessel Senior, is the co-owner, co-creator. It's amazing. Like, it's a family business.
That's awesome, man.
Yeah, it really is. Awesome. Yeah. So we're gonna jump into the books now, and off the show, this was the book that I'd least likely read. But saying that though, I thoroughly enjoyed it. The artwork I find is very clean, but very I don't know. It's hard for me to put into words. I'll leave that to Manny in a second, but this is definitely a book for vampire fans. It is a vampire genre book with a bit of witchcraft as well. Um, and the thing I love about this book too is the fact that we're not touching an origin story here from the very page. It's almost like we're just thrown into a scene of the show or a scene into the movie, whatever you want to call it, and it does. We're just taken for a ride. And Manny, love to hear your input. What did you think of Witchblood?
I feel the same way as you do. When I first saw the book, I saw a lot on Twitter. And from the artwork, just by looking at the artwork, I was like, well, this looks like this new age of art style from this web comic type of art style.
Mm-hmm.
Kind of like almost like a female to bring in a female audience, almost very colorful.
Yeah.
Um, and I like it. It's very sketchy. It's not very the line is not too detailed. It's a little unpolished in a way, but
Yeah.
it looks amazing.
Yeah.
Um,
Yeah. You're
and,
right.
and and when I first saw it, I was like, I don't know if this is for me, but I'm gonna give it a shot. But yeah, like you said, man, the story just pulls you in. It's cool
Yeah.
because not everything has to be a origin story, you know.
Exactly.
And you're just going along with the ride, with her, and it's just fun. It's a fun story.
Yeah, and she's a fun character too.
Yeah.
And I said this off screen as well. It's almost like a hybrid Buffy, True Blood, even Harley Quinn. And
Yep.
you said Sabrina. It has all of that, and the character's name is Yona. So Yona
Yeah.
is the protagonist, and she's a hoot. She's lots of fun, right?
Yeah.
And she takes us for the ride, and it's hard not to fall in love with a character like that because she's a bit of a ditz, but
Yeah.
but but she's got powers and she's unapologetic. So good, like go her. And I thoroughly enjoyed it. And I want to give
Yeah.
a massive shout out to this variant cover. It's a homage to the Dazzler #1 back in the early 80s. Amazing cover, by the way. And if you guys want to check it out,
Yep.
check out your local comic book shop. But you're right about the the artwork is a bit unpolished, but it's also neat.
Yeah.
And the
But
colors actually,
I want to say we say unpolished, but they do it on purpose.
oh, of course.
It's not like the artist doesn't know how to draw. It's just that's her or his
Yeah.
personal choice, and it looks amazing the way it does.
Yes. And to shout out to the artist, Lisa Sterl,
Yeah.
um, and also co-created and written by Matthew Ehrman. So, like, what a team, right? Co-creators,
Yep.
taking both jobs on. So that you know what I mean. There's a lot of heart in this book. There's a heck of a lot of heart, and like I'm so happy that you chose this book because, as I said, it wouldn't be a book that I just want to read, and I just love the some of the scenes when she's like talking to herself about empowerment and just the panel backgrounds are like fire or like I
Yeah.
love that. Very
Yeah.
cartoonish. Very cartoonish.
It's so awesome. Yeah.
Yeah, and even this scene here, and she's talking to herself again, and the background's it's just stuff that like it just emphasizes her wanting to be an achiever, and I love it.
And
I
it's
think
funny.
it's fantastic.
And it's funny because at points it's very funny, and then on another side, the completely opposite side of the spectrum, the villains are completely ruthless,
They are,
and,
yeah.
and to a point where you're like, holy, they murdered all these people. What's
Yeah,
going on here?
exactly. Yeah, and look, guys, upon looking at this book, you think it's an all ages title. It's not.
Nope.
And that's one thing about Vault as well. I just want to shout out. And this is probably my only critique for the publisher that these books look absolutely amazing, but they aren't all ages. So
Right.
if you want to make a massive shout out to that, all the books you're going to see today are not all ages. But in saying that, though, once your children get grow to over 15, they absolutely love it.
And just maybe for the Vault publisher, if they listen to the podcast, they have a opportunity, like for titles like the ones we're gonna be talking about, they could put out an all ages version of the same book,
Yeah,
and it'll be easily done, and they'll reach a much larger audience, because these
I
books,
think so.
there's many of the scenes that just a few tweaks and the story will not change, and you will make it much more
Yeah,
appealing for every age group. But it's what it
exactly.
is.
Yeah, because I mean, Brian Michael Bendis, when he writes his monologues or his stories even for Marvel, he'll put a lot of swear words in. But
Right.
what the editors will do will just put those characters, the exclamation mark, the the hashtag and all that stuff to make it to blur it out, and they could
Yeah.
easily do that.
Yep.
You could easily do that. So definitely worth trying, because you're right. It would hit a much larger audience. I mean, if I look at this page right now, I wouldn't think this were a non-all ages book, because the art style is very cartoonish. The
Yep.
character's lovable. You know what I mean? Like, she could be an empowerment to other young girls that might be wanting to read comics.
And
Like
the young girls and teenage girls would totally love this character,
oh
and young boys too, but young girls
yeah.
specifically.
Yeah, and I mean, for me, she's hard not to love, because she's funny and she's unapologetically ditzy, and I love that. Like, that just gives her character, and it
Yep.
gives depth to the character as well. I truly applaud. I applaud this book, and thank you for choosing it, Manny. I'm so happy.
Oh, I'm glad you liked it, man.
Yeah, no, I as I said, this was the book I least likely wanted to read. So I'd just take this head on first, and I absolutely loved it, and I think it's a fantastic book. It's
Yep.
fun. There's a lot of action, a lot of energy, and you're right. The villains are the total opposite. But in saying that, though, it just means that we got to root for Yona a little bit more.
Yeah, wow,
Gives
absolutely,
her a
absolutely.
heck of a lot more love. You know what I mean? Like, definitely one to pick up.
For sure.
Yeah, and we'll move on now to the next title, and this is Bleed Them Dry. Another vampire book. I was like, Manny, what are you doing? Is this like an all vampire escapade we're taking on? But again, this was a completely different book. What made you choose this one, bro? Like,
Look,
what was it?
I got a funny story with this book.
All right.
In one of those times that, like I told you, after I get my pull list from my local comic shop, I always go and peruse the aisles and get whatever attracts my what I think it looks cool or interesting. I'll just pick it up. I had picked this book up, and with a whole bunch of other indie comics, I brought them home.
Mm-hmm.
A few weeks passed. I got my pull list, and I saw this cover, and I wasn't sure if I had it or not, and I bought it again.
Oh, really?
Yeah. So I have 2 issues of the same.
Yeah, I've done that. I think we've all done that once in a while.
Yeah.
Yeah, because sometimes just life gets in the way and we're all too busy.
Right.
Yeah, I mean, I've done that many times myself.
And it's a striking cover. It's a very striking cover.
It is.
But yeah,
really
and look, I specifically got this book because I wanted to read a bunch of horror books, and I want to expand my horror collection. I don't have that much except Spawn. So I started buying a lot more horror books for Horror Comics Month, which is October. They're starting this trend of hashtagging horror books. So I got a few vampire books and stuff like that, horror books, and this was one of the ones I grabbed, and I loved it.
One thing I do like about this cover is on the left side of the front cover. So the one that's on the left is mainly the back cover, but on the middle here you see the like the black diamonds. That's actually the print on the side of a samurai sword. I really like that. That looks absolutely gorgeous.
Good catch, yes.
Yeah. So that actually looks really amazing.
It does.
But definitely one to pick up is written by Elliot Rowell, with art by Mike Ruan. So I'm sorry if I'm butchering your names. I'm doing my best, but definitely a lot of love here for this book. It's almost like a future type setting with vampires being amongst the everyday civilization. So here we
Yep.
have the main protagonist. She's a detective, and she is basically trying to solve a crime. And one of her partners is actually a vampire, and he is like the thing is, when once we see her and trying to solve a crime, she's attacked by another vampire who is almost tortured. He's not actually out to kill, or he's probably just starving,
Yep.
and there's something wrong. And I just love how she's almost feels empathy for this vampire that had to been put down because of the fact that it's either him or her. Do you know what I mean?
Exactly.
Yeah, and I really liked it, and I think the character can't catch her name. Oh, Detective Holloway, I should say.
Detective Holloway. Yes.
Yeah, she's another female protagonist, and she's actually pretty cool. She has that it's almost like a female version of Denzel Washington. She has that calm
True.
demeanor about her, very very laid back, but also very serious and committed to her job. And
Yep.
that's the thing I really appreciate about her character, is that she takes no nonsense, but she does have a lot of humanity in her when
Yeah.
we're talking about dealing with the undead, the vampires. I
Yeah.
mean, art wise, again, very different. And this panel here almost has that Mobius feel to it, with the city
Yeah.
in being in its absolute glory. But man, I'd love to hear your insight. What did you think about the art style
Oh,
of
I
Conan?
loved it. I loved it. It's very new age. It's very detailed,
Very deep.
and dark, and just it looks like a movie. Honestly, it looks like
Yeah.
a perfect Hollywood movie in the making right
Mm,
here. It's amazing. I found it.
yeah.
Everything looked amazing.
Yeah. You're right about it looking like a movie, because some panels just show her of, tearing open the cat food or putting her coffee cup down on the table. Like
Yeah.
those little things are just, they're smart. They give you direction, they give you guidance without it being like, obviously you see a coffee cup being put on a table is a little bit boring in some eyes, but it makes sense.
But it looks good though.
Oh, you're not wrong there.
And even the scenes, the slow scenes where they're just talking,
Yeah.
her and Atticus, her partner. It just
Mm,
you don't get bored. You're reading and you're going
definitely.
along with what's happening, and you don't get bored.
Yes, because it is a crime noir type story,
Right.
but set in a futuristic civilization. And here's the scene I was mentioning before about the vampire trying to kill her. And as you can see, the vampire is not there to be a killer. He's just hungry, right? So there's something wrong, and she senses it. She can sense that something's wrong with this setting.
Yep.
Um, and I think this book is definitely a must read.
And
Definitely a must read.
it's very different because the premise of the book in itself is the chief of police is not upset that there's vampires. He's upset that there's a vampire hunter,
Yes.
and that the press is talking about this is the only city in ages that has a, a vampire hunter,
Mm,
the Slayer. He calls it a vampire slayer, and
yeah.
he's like he's yelling at Detective Holloway, and you got to put a stop to this. And
Yes.
it's such a different story, that something that
Yeah.
you rarely see. You always rooting for the vampire killer, and they're like, no,
Yeah.
they're actually they have like a treaty with the
Mm,
vampires. And actually there's a scene where there's it's like a government official talking, and they're asking basically for, it's like, let's say the government now in the United States or something, they're sending money to people, to different states or whatever. Well,
mm-hmm.
this people is asking for globals. Globals is basically, you gotta send us 250,000 humans so that the vampires can feed.
Yeah.
So that's what the whole thing is. So they're basically just sending people to slaughter to feed all
Yeah.
these vampires, and it's that's like acknowledge, yeah, this is what we're gonna be doing,
Yeah.
and
Wow.
it's such a different, it's such a crazy thing when you read it. You're like, what is going on here?
Yeah, because
It's just
it is scary, right? I mean, we breed cows to be eaten, right? We breed sheep, we breed, chickens, whatever, right, to be eaten, and now we're doing it to our own species. That's actually a real scary concept.
that's crazy.
You know what I mean?
That
That's
is
crazy.
wild.
Yeah, but it's definitely a one to read. It is very outrageous in some instances, like you mentioned, but there's a lot of heart to the character. Holloway is a very intriguing character,
Yep.
and I just love this panel, the second one from the top, how she's eating. It has that very cartoony style to it. I just love
Yeah.
it. I read that and I smiled. Like that was actually nice because it's like showing us that she is human after all, even with her calm and committed demeanor that she does like to eat. So,
And it's funny you mentioned that because there's a scene where she's talking with her partner. They're drinking coffee in a coffee shop,
yeah,
and she's getting a hot chocolate or coffee,
yeah,
and her partner is a vampire, so
and he's
he's
getting
getting
blood.
warm blood.
Yeah, I know. I love that. And
And you're like,
the waitress holding two jugs.
it's so wild. I'm like, what in the hell? It's
But
crazy.
again,
It's cool.
if we can distribute blood in a way that are not going to starve the vampires, I'm all for it because I don't want them to eat me. Like I'd
Damn
rather go
right.
here. Let me give you a cup of blood. Drink that.
Yeah. Yeah. Please don't kill nobody.
Yeah, please don't eat me.
Yeah, that's true.
All right. We're going to move on to a completely different genre now. And again, I was like, Manny, thank you for choosing this.
Welcome.
It is the Blue Flame #1. I actually saw this a few months back and I was like, wow. Like to be honest with you, when we look at indie publishers, we don't really get to see the traditional superhero like we did in the 80s or 70s, 80s, even 90s when it came to indie comics because indie were very much into superheroes in those decades, but probably since like the early 2000s, indie comics have kind of steered away from superheroes to create stories, which
Right.
I'm all good with. Like, but to see a brand new superhero title that is set in the cosmic spectrum through an indie publisher like Vault, I was intrigued. And
Yeah.
look at this amazing cover. You'll see why. I mean, I think if anyone were flicking through comics and saw this, they'd be like, "Oh, what is that?"
Oh yeah.
Right?
Oh yeah.
But Manny, please, I'd just love to know why you chose the Blue Flame.
Look, man, it's not only this cover. Like this book has, I think it's like 10 covers or something like
I
that.
think so. Yes, you're not wrong about that. And here's
And
another one.
I mean, they're all like homages to like super famous covers,
Mm-hmm.
and it's so well done.
Really is.
So beautifully done, and they actually give the credit to where the homage comes from. They,
Yes, you're
they pay
absolutely
their
right.
respect,
Oh, yes.
and so that caught my eye.
Mhm.
The whole character, the uniform, it caught my eye. The fact that that is a brand new superhero from an indie comic, like you say,
Yeah.
through and through superhero, not Spawn that is an anti-hero or something like that.
Mhm.
Um, I just wanted to give it a shot, and I'm glad I did.
Yeah, I'm glad you did too. And as you can see, this is Dave Stevens from The Rocketeer. I mean, I
Rocketeer,
love
yeah.
how it's got Voltco on the actual top right hand corner. So it's Comico back in the day. They got Voltco. I love that. It's just like the little things, those little tints of.
And
I love
I
it.
have I have to say, to the Vault, whoever's in charge of graphic design in Vault, the publisher. I mean, salute to you, whoever you are, because
Yes.
they pay so much attention to every detail.
Hmm.
It is mind blowing, seriously.
It really is. Even this famous cover from the Secret Wars. This was
Secret Wars.
Doctor Doom down on one knee. Like, look at
Yes.
that. Even the way that the titles presented there.
Yeah.
How can you not love that? That's so amazing.
It's impossible not to. I mean, look, I'm one of the most adamant. I'm always like against buying multiple covers, but these covers are so amazing. It was hard not to get a few. Like, seriously.
Well, how long was your tongue wagging?
Oh my god, man!
The drool would just be coming out if I wish I picked these up back in the day. I really do. I regret not being the one jumping through the comic book shop, just filtering through. Yep.
Right, I got it. I got this one. I got this one. Yeah, that's true.
Yeah. It was like I would so be into that. But in saying that though, like we look at these amazing covers, right? I was one to think, oh, the interiors, like what is the interiors going to be like? But just as great as the covers are, just as great as those homages are, in my opinion, I think the content in the book was actually superior.
It was.
And that's a hard thing for me to say because you're right, the covers are absolutely amazing, right? But I do want to give a massive shout out to the writer, Christopher Cantwell, artist, Adam Gorham, colorist Kurt Michael Russell. Glad he put the middle name in there because he would be Kurt Russell. And Hassam Ostmain Elahu. He is the letterer. So massive shout out, guys. Thank you for this amazing book.
Yep.
This book is set in the cosmic spectrum, and I want to hear your thoughts, Manny, because you gave me a really great analogy of what you thought about this character, right?
Yeah, like we were talking about before the show started. This book feels to me, it felt like another story from a character that we've known all our lives. A comic book superhero that we've read before, but this is a brand new hero. We never read a story from him. He's so familiar? It feels so familiar, and he's like I said earlier, a through and through superhero. That I swear, I was reading it and I'm like, yeah, I know this character, I know him, but I don't.
Yeah,
and that
is correct though.
That's a credit to the writer though.
Yeah, 100%. Because it is almost paying those homages. You know what I mean? Like you think about even Dave Stevens, right? His Rocketeer character was meant to be set back in the 1940s. So we're like thinking, am I supposed to know this character? But I don't. But I kind of do.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Yeah.
It just plays mind games with you. And I get the same principle with this character. And that is so true. And we're introduced to this amazing first page, right? Like, look at the stars. And here we see that blue comet. Obviously, that's the blue flame. But just the atmosphere. And I mean, if you're a cosmic fan like I am, like, dude, like, you got to read this.
You can tell you
regret. Sorry, bro?
No, I'm sorry. Go ahead.
I just regret not picking this up earlier or reading it much earlier because it was absolutely amazing. Like this, what we see, so the blue flame goes onto another planet. He interacts with other aliens and whatnot, and then suddenly we're introduced to him in our time, right?
Yeah. Yep.
And he's a superhero, or is he a cosplayer? That's the thing I wanted to know. Like, or is he just like a knockoff of Kick-Ass? Because Kick-Ass is just a normal man like you and I, but he wears a costume.
He tries to be a superhero, yeah.
He tries to be a superhero. But there's questions unanswered in this book, which I am kind of angry about because I read this going, it's just over. But it's a good angry because the book is absolutely amazing.
Yeah.
And here we see another image. And like this is where if you're a comic book fan of especially the cosmic spectrum, if you haven't picked this up, like do yourself a favor and Comixology, check out your local comic book shop, even check out the Vault website and pick it up. I got to tell you, I was like amazed at what I saw.
I swear, you read this book and you see those images in space, and
Yeah,
you could totally see him interacting with Superman. You could totally see him interacting with the Guardians of the Galaxy.
indeed.
He's
No doubt.
it's just like the artwork is Marvel and DC quality above. I mean, he's I swear this book
Yeah.
is, and I wrote it. When I was writing the notes for the show, I
Mhm.
wrote that this is as close as close as you can get to a perfect comic book.
Mm.
I mean, the character is perfectly done. The writing is
Mhm.
great. The cliffhanger is amazing. It gives you enough to see how powerful he is, or how cool he is, how he
Mm.
interacts, what he's gonna be experiencing, and it leaves you in suspense. Like, is this really happening, or did this happen,
Yeah.
or is this in his head?
Mhm.
So I mean, from beginning to end, this is I give it 10 out of 10.
Oh, same. I'll absolutely give this 10 out of 10. Like, as soon as I read it, that's when I sent the message because I was like, what the hell? What did I
Yeah,
just read? No, because we see an image here of him. This is Blue Flame in his, his
cosplayer.
civilian cosplayer wannabe superhero mode, and his team of misfits, his team of fellow superheroes, and he's actually in a romantic relationship with one of them, and the
Right.
other two are also in two other characters in a romantic relationship. And then we have the Rorschach like character as well. He has he has no real name, and again, it's just like, oh, okay, so we're getting a different story here, and the way that the story ends, it's both sad,
Oh, it's tragic.
but
Yeah.
tragically beautiful, but also you're like, damn, is this how it ends?
Phew.
Like, you got to read issue number 2 because it's like we've been gifted this amazing present to be like, oh, sorry, that wasn't for you. That was meant to be for somebody else.
Oh
Like
my God.
that's
Yeah.
what it felt like. It's almost like you're left empty-handed, but
Yeah.
at the time you can go back and reread it and go like, this is a masterpiece.
It is. It
It's
is. I mean
absolutely
that.
an absolute masterpiece, and I pray that this book gets nominated for an Eisner, like
Oh my God. Yes.
seriously, or a Harvey Award, or something. Like this book needs to be nominated for some award. Like,
I,
oh my
I
gosh,
I completely agree.
yeah, like this book, like got me feeling emotional, but at the same time a little bit angry. But it was angry, but it's because of the way it ended. Like it's just like, oh, well, like you just forgot it's a floppy, right?
Don't do this to me.
I should have bought the trade. God damn it! You know what I
Yeah.
mean? You
Yeah.
can't do this, but no, it's an absolutely beautiful story. Perfectly positioned. Like, is it a flashback? We don't know, right? So you really got to read issue number 2. But if you haven't read this, go out and read it. If the trade is coming out in a month or so, maybe wait for the trade. But if you cannot wait, just pick up the previous few issues because I
Yeah.
think it's up to issue number 3 now or number 4.
Yeah. I don't know if number 4 came out,
Yeah, or maybe
but
not, but I know it's a few issues in, like, but
yeah,
definitely want to pick. I've been saying definitely pick it up throughout this episode, but this one I actually mean. This one is amazing.
it
Like,
is. It is.
it's a beautiful book, and yeah, like I could do a whole episode on Blue Flame, but we're not. So we're gonna move
I
on to and the next book now. And this book really caught my eye because I was like, like you think about superheroes, you think about all these stories that we're getting from even from the big two. In the 70s, we were gifted a few type of barbarian type stories, right? We had
right.
Conan, we had Tarzan. You could almost fit Doc Samson in there as well because he just wears no shirt, so he could be positioned as a
Yeah.
barbarian.
Yeah.
But definitely, Oh, sorry, no, not Doc Samson. You know, the man
Yeah,
of bronze.
Hercules and stuff. Yeah. Oh
Yeah,
yeah.
Hercules, yeah, the man of bronze, because he just wears
Right.
no. Yeah, but anyways, those books, like, you know, were great. We're given a completely different genre, and we haven't really had that for a long time. Even from, you know, Dark Horse, thankfully, were gifting us these books for a little while with Conan, but nothing else.
Right.
And here we're given a new book called Barbaric, and it's
Yeah.
about Owen. So the Barbarian has a name like a as an Anglo-Saxon name, Owen,
Yeah.
and his mate Axe, who has, who has an
Oh
appetite
man.
who has an appetite for destruction. So and again, like, I was intrigued. I loved it. I just loved the appeal and the appearance of the character. And then we're gifted this. So another homage cover, but of Conan #1 by Barry
Right.
Windsor Smith.
Right.
Um, we're given this, and also a Blaze, and we really need to touch on a Blaze because their Sumerian books are absolutely divine, absolutely amazing. And then we have another. So we have something else which I really love, Manny. But Manny, I know you picked this up, right?
Yeah.
What was it about Barbaric that really got your attention?
Well, like what got my attention, well, first the character design is amazing. That axe is just I needed to find out what that was about. And I kept hearing all these reviews. It's one of the best comics you'll read the whole year. Blah blah blah. Like, I was almost worried because when I don't know, I don't trust critics.
Yeah, when there's
So
too much praise, right?
right, and so I was like, I'm just get it because I mean, not everybody can be wrong, right? So I'm gonna just try
Mhm.
it. It's three,
Yeah.
$4, $5, whatever.
Hmm.
But man, oh my god, talk about a cool character and talk about a crazy psychic. That axe is a psychic. I swear,
Yeah.
it's a that axe is a cool psychic, man. I swear.
Yeah, he is. And I was going to give a massive shout out to the writers. So we got Michael Moretti is on writing duties,
Right.
artist by Nathan Gooden, colorist Addison Duke, and letterer Jim Campbell. Um, but definitely the covers are enticing, just like all of the Vault titles that we've
Right.
picked up today. All the covers are very enticing and make you just want to pick it up. And they're very the covers are all clean, and that's the thing I love about Vault.
Yeah.
And here we see the you know, the Barbarian, and here he is with his trusted axe.
Right.
But why Owen though? That's the thing. Like,
That's part of the economy. That's why he's so funny.
exactly, yeah. His name is Owen, so, you know, very scary name.
Yeah.
Um, but I guess you'd be scared if he's like wielding the axe the way he does.
Yeah.
Um, but you're right. It does add comedy to the character, but he is no nonsense. He, you know, we see even just the images here of him fighting the other barbarians or the other monsters. You know, we're introduced to him, Owen, as a slave,
Right.
and he's not a slave for long, that's for sure.
I was just gonna say that. Yeah.
Yeah, he wasn't a slave for long, but and I do like the coloring in this book as well. We have some images where, like, there's maybe only like a 2 or 3 tones to some panels.
Yeah.
But overall, Manny, what are your thoughts on the art style of Barbarian?
I, I love the art style. Very very detailed, and yeah, like you
Mhm.
said, the color palette is warm, a lot of warm colors.
Mhm.
Pretty simple palette of colors, but
Mhm.
it fits the story. It feels like a true alien world.
Yeah.
Um, and just for if anybody that's watching the video of the show and they don't know what the story is about, it's basically he like Dodgy said, he was a slave, but he's basically a barbarian. All he wanted in life was basically be Conan. He wanted to have sex with as many women as he could, kill people, drink, and
Mhm.
he was fine with that. And then he got a curse, and he got that axe, and he can only kill bad people, right?
Mm-hmm.
People that are, and not even bad people, they have to be worthy. They have to be worthy of being killed. You, if somebody lies to you, you cannot kill him. It has to be, and again, that's part of the problem that he has in the beginning. He's ordered to kill people, but they don't. He can't because they're not evil enough.
Yes.
So that's part of that's basically the story in a nutshell. But one of the running jokes, which is hilarious, I found that hilarious, is that he keeps talking to the axe, but nobody can hear the axe talking back. So everybody that sees him, he's like, "Are you talking to your axe? Did he talk to his axe?" So they think he's crazy, and it's because nobody can hear the axe except a character that we meet later on, which I'm sure ends up tagging along, and they become a team.
Yeah, but gosh, that axe is hilarious.
It is. It is.
Give me that sweet nectar of life.
And that's the thing. She's addicted to blood, and she gets drunk with blood.
Yes, exactly.
That's so funny. It's so funny. It's so chaotic, and it's an awesome book. The critics were right. I have to admit, the critics were right. It's an amazing book.
You're absolutely right. And I mean, like, there are some elements that we see the face of Axe, and there's others when we don't. So that brings to the point that, he could be like a ghost that only Owen can see.
Maybe so.
Yeah. So is that what it is? But we don't know. But it's definitely it's really a book that, if you are a Conan fan, if you're not getting enough with just, that's the thing, right? We've only been given like, maybe a couple of Barbarian books a month,
Right.
It could be Conan, it could be like the Savage Sword of Conan, for example, right? We're not really given anything else. The Cimmerian is a great alternative, and now we're given Barbaric, which is another alternative. And it's great to see that we're getting other books that handle that the Grimstone and swords, like we need sword fighting, right?
We need simple action, man. That's all we want.
Yeah, but with good storytelling, and
true.
That's what we get. I know it's a lot of like hack slash and a lot of blood.
Yeah,
but we are given like monsters and there is going to be more, as you can see in the next issue. With like there's a gigantic snake. Like, wow, like, yes, please. I'd like to see some of that.
And then he said, "I guess we're gonna have to battle this giant dragon or snake," and the axe is like, "Let's go."
Exactly. He's like smorgasbord. Let's do this.
Yeah.
Or you can eat buffet. He's like,
yeah.
You know what I mean? He's like, just puts on his bib and he's ready to go.
Yeah, but in actuality, the premise, when you first see the character and when you read the title Barbaric, okay, it's you kind of think, okay, this is gonna be killing people, just crazy drinking or whatever, but there's a lot more going on than just that. Yes, that's happening, and it's a funny premise with the axe and stuff, but there's a lot more going on.
Yeah, that's right. There's depth. You know what I mean? Like, and that's a great thing. We can be gifted these great alternative stories, Grim and Brimstone and Ghost and witches and monsters and ogres, whatever, right? But we're given decent storytelling to go in hand with it, because we need depth. And these writers are not just anyone who goes, "Oh, I just want to put together," it's like, putting like your toys fighting toys, right? We got to give storytelling. We got to create depth for these characters, because otherwise we'd only be given like 12 issues and done, right?
Exactly.
These need to be an ongoing story, and we need to be given like stories that maybe there is an arc of 6 issues, and then there'll be a second arc of another 6 issues, and then a third arc. Like give us decent storytelling. I mean, I miss those movies from the 80s.
Right.
Beast Hunter, Beastmaster, Conan the Barbarian, even Red Sonja was a fantastic movie. Red Sonja is another title that fits into that genre as well. My apologies for not thinking of her. She's a great alternative to those stories as well. So
I was gonna say that earlier. Yeah.
yeah, definitely. So we are given some, another option if you're into that genre. So definitely pick it up if you are a fan. It is a
Yep.
lot of fun.
It
Um,
absolutely is.
yeah, but again, even Blue Flame as well as Barbaric is definitely not all ages. So it's
Right.
really not suitable for children. And this is probably the book that you really would have to like almost re-illustrate to make it.
Oh yeah. No, this is not.
Yeah, like I don't think it'll ever be all ages friendly. So definitely above 15 would be really into this book. It'd be a lot of fun. But
Yeah.
definitely, Manny, you've picked up some amazing titles. Which one would stand out to you as being your favorite?
Oh man, that's tough. I would say, man, it's between Blue Flame and Barbaric.
Yeah,
I would say, Barbaric was my favorite.
America's your favorite.
Uh,
Yeah.
yeah, I just I enjoyed it from beginning to end.
Mm-hmm.
I think once I read the full Blue Flame story, it will overall will be my favorite.
Yeah.
Um, but just from the context of first issue, I think
Mm-hmm.
I had more fun with Barbaric.
Yes, and I don't want to sound like we're just saying that these are the best books of the bunch because I still really loved Witch Blood was amazing,
Oh yeah,
absolutely an amazing title. I loved it dearly.
yeah,
Bleed and Dry was also fantastic, um,
yep,
but for me, my favorite will have to be Blue Flame
yeah.
because it really got me. It really sucked me in, which it doesn't. I haven't really had that for a while, where a new title would just drag me in and then disappoint me at the same time. But the reason why it disappointed me because of the fact that it pulled me in.
You
It
wanted
sucked me
more.
in. I wanted more, and it's like
Yeah.
when you just read your very first comic. Like I remember picking up Spider-Man number 361. I read it and I thought, I have to wait a month for the next one. Really?
It's Empire Strikes Back all over again.
Yes, exactly.
Is it really his dad?
3 years for the next movie? Are you
Yeah,
kidding me? What the
yeah,
hell?
yeah,
But no, but definitely no. But this is a great thing about indie comics. We're introduced to titles that we probably would never read. Um, but if we were only reading the big two, so thank you to Vault. Amazing titles,
yeah.
and again, their covers are probably the highlight because it is the first thing you see when you pick up a comic book, and I think Vault nailed it. Right?
And
What you judge a book by its cover.
right, and in a market that's overflow with variant covers, I think Vault has, in my opinion, they're the ones that are doing it the best.
Yeah,
I mean, those covers are not only well done. It's just they shows the right ones to homage, and they show the love and the respect to the
yeah,
original creators, which is, to me, it sold me on it.
yeah. True. I mean, you imagine Mike Zack, or if you know, bless Dave Stevens. He's unfortunately passed away, but if
Yeah,
he were to see that book in his own eyes, I'm sure he'd have a smile on his face, right?
they would have. Yeah, no
Yeah,
doubt.
he would have a smile on his face to see a book like that look the way it did,
Yeah,
and pay the ultimate homage, right? I'm sure Mike Zack would look at this with a smile, like
yeah,
because those books were paying respect, but they
yeah.
didn't just have like after creator name. They actually had a homage, like a friggin' badge on the front page, like on the cover itself. Like that's amazing.
And they and one little detail, like Barbaric, they shows a Conan book to play on
Mm,
to homage. Blue Flame shows the Rocketeer, which is
yes,
a flying character. They
yes,
shows Doctor Doom in Secret Identity, which is a
yes.
cosmic story. So
Hmm.
like, there's so much thought that went into these covers, man.
Yeah,
It's
exactly.
nothing but respect, man.
Yeah,
Seriously.
100%. And even for for Witchblade, they had the Dazzler as well, because she is like that. you know, she can create sparkles, I guess.
Right, and she's you know, female empowering, and you
Yeah,
know,
and she's fun. She's actually heaps of
and
fun,
fun,
and
exactly.
she's got a good heart. You know,
Yep.
she's got a really good heart, and you know, maybe not everyone sees it, but we know where she's coming from, and that's what I love. You
Yep.
know, she embraces her flaws, but you know, she has her strengths, so it's amazing. And definitely, like, these books are you know, are definitely worthy of a pickup. I think as
Oh
a
yeah.
trade, oh my goodness, that'd be amazing. um
Yeah.
Definitely amazing. Well, thank you so much for joining us on the Sunder Katz. Check us out on Comic Crusaders, as well as comiccrusaders.shop. Find Manny on Truthful Comics. Where else can we find you, Manny?
The Art of Manuel Carmona. I got my own website, and you can find the information on my nonprofit initiative, Comics for Christmas,
Hey.
and our Buying the Comics Day info and all the stuff that we are doing with Buying the Comics Day. You can find it on my website as well.
Yep.
So yeah.
Fantastic. All right, guys, before we take off, Sunder Katz.
Yo!
Thank you. We hope you've enjoyed this Comic Crusaders production. For real-time news on all things pop culture, please feel free to follow us on social media. For articles, original content, merchandise, and more, please go to www.comiccrusaders.com. Also follow along with all of the websites of the Comic Crusaders family. As always, if you like this content, please click like and subscribe to the Comic Crusaders YouTube channel.